Hi there. I can see you can see me. Can you hear me? Oh, good.
Yeah.
I'm here.
It's gonna be coming. Okay. And then we have Leslie Clark here.
Yes.
Myself, and then in place for Mike Foster is Becky Hill. And passed. Okay. Are there any changes that need to be made to our agenda? I'm not seeing any, so let's go on. Next up is our public comment. This is a wonderful time for us to hear from people in the town of Superior who have comments to make. 5 minutes is our limit. It's not a discussion. Although some of your ideas could be teed up for future OSAC agendas. So I see one person in the room.
Great. I'm Peter Ruprecht. I'm the coordinator for the Superior Raptor Monitoring Program. And I just wanted to give a little overview of this year's results since we kind of wrapped up observations for this season. And so just to start out, it's just amazing to me how enthusiastic our residents in town are about raptors. We have at least 45 volunteers signed up, and sit side of those 40 submitted at least one observation report this year. That is an exceptional participation percentage for a volunteer program. So I think it just speaks to the way that charismatic wildlife, like birds of prey, really pique people's interests. I'm delighted that we even had a council member who was really into it this year. Did a great job. So I don't want to bore you with a bunch of statistics, but I will mention that this year we identified 15 different raptor species. That's including eagles, hawks, owls, and falcons, not vultures. We don't count them, unfortunately. And that is a big chunk of the potential raptor species that we might see in this area. So I guess this means that not only does Superior like birds of prey, but they like us as well. One thing that was a little surprising to me this year is that we found 2 different rare owl species in residential yards in Rock Creek neighborhood. So this, I think, is further evidence that the suburban forest that was started being planted 30-some years ago in Rock Creek is maturing enough to support birds that would really be unexpected in a prairie environment. And I think that the suburban woodland really should be considered as a sort of habitat space now. It's kind of interesting. So you've got a copy of the summary report. I kind of got a little verbose on that. I'm sorry it's so long this year, but I would draw your attention towards the end of the recommendation section. And just as a bit of history, when the first version of this annual report came out 7 years ago, OSAC was a little bit taken aback by the recommendations, which are fairly similar to the ones that are in there now. It just seemed like those were a little out there at the time. But your committee has, really warmed up to the idea of, doing things to help raptors through your leadership. These recommendations have really become an important part of the conversation around protecting our open spaces for wildlife. So, thumbs up, you guys. Great job. So I know that OSAC is promoting most of these recommendations already, but I do think they're important. I just kind of want to keep them front and center on everybody's radar. Actually, one idea that's not in the recommendations, but is kind of reinvigorated by the success that Tracy has had with the wildlife cameras, would be the idea of doing a live stream on a raptor nest at some point. And I know there's technical challenges with that. Staff members 5 or 6 years ago really looked into it, and it just wasn't feasible at the time. But just that's something for you guys to kind of keep in mind as a future project. So, in conclusion, I just want to tell everybody what an amazing privilege it has been for me to be involved with the raptor monitoring program. Really, basically since its inception. I'm so grateful that the way that OSAC has increased support for the program over the years. I cannot thank you all enough for that. And I am looking forward to continuing to submit observations for as long as the program keeps going. So thank you also so very much from staff to the council and just the residents of Superior who are up to make this good.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. And I'm just gonna go off our stated rules to say that we are truly going to manage your leadership on this team. And I just hope that we can continue it. I know we're not going to ever come close to as good as you've been able to do it, but I know all of us are going to continue to champion as best as we can the work that you initiated.
Great.
We'll see you around.
I'm still here.
If I could make one comment, when you mentioned the Raptor monitoring camera or something, there was some discussion we had some weeks ago about the cell tower that's in Community Park because it has a nest up there, and maybe that's an option. I don't know.
So it would have the important capabilities of both power and network, like directly there, and that's often the trip.
I hadn't thought of that.
At some of these locations. So, yeah, I don't know who owns the tower and if it's the same as the communications companies, but
Verizon.
yeah, that would be a great place.
Yeah.
And I will just say, since we're having a discussion, that people love watching these live streams. I mean, it becomes almost obsessive for some folks, in a good way. They really, really love just watching what happens. Even if it's just the adult bird sitting on eggs for 4 weeks straight. Pretty soon there's chicks. The parents are bringing in food. Folks totally dig it. So I know it's a hard thing to do technically, but it is really neat.
Yeah.
All right. Great. Well, thank you. Yeah.
Feel free to hang if you want.
So yeah, kind of busy today, so I'm gonna.
But thanks for coming. Do we have any other public comments online? No. All right, let's move on to our OSAC discussion items. Let's go around with staff updates and townhouse updates. Leslie, Party, who wants to start?
I can start. It was a delayed email that I sent to you guys just like before this meeting, which was about the counters. So that email has an attachment from the person I spoke with they're in Montreal, a company based out there, and they do like the trail counters. We talked about that last month. So in that email, he kind of breaks down like 3 options for us and what options we want to explore, and then we will move forward. We can, ask more questions about that. Move over, forward with how would the payment process look like, and things like that. Just because like I couldn't give him like a hard number of like how many counters we necessarily need, because I think it just depends on after we discuss like where are the key points where we want to have counters, what type of counters. We talked about mobile counters last time and permanent installation of counters. So after you review that, we can get the discussion going. And if you want to, I did ask him, because when I talked to him last time, I need to see if he's available. Is there room for him to like present in our November meeting?
Yeah, there might be none.
I don't know, we're gonna be too.
Yeah, it depends. Whether we still want to meet with us or not.
Yeah.
But we pretty
Just
much cleared
just
that agenda.
Say it again.
We had pretty much cleared that agenda to really focus on the comprehensive master plan.
Yeah.
So we should certainly be able to accommodate them. Double check, but
Okay. That's just an idea. So that's for the trail counters, and then the project that was delayed in the summertime with Boulder County and building the prairie dog fence. So we're gonna do one more site visit tomorrow. I'm meeting with the volunteer manager out on site, and just to see, let you send me this back. So if you guys want to pass that around.
The parcel south of Bull Creek Crossing neighborhood, and they had requested that we put prairie dog barrier up on the existing fence, which is where that dotted line is. It's funny, it's not on the property line. Yeah, and they're aware that they're gonna run into that existing colony, so, they have that on their radar if we need help mitigating that and getting them on one side or the other. But yeah,
There are options for passive relocation to get them back over.
they talked about that. I didn't ask any more detail about
Okay, but
that.
that's Boulder County.
Mhm. Yeah, because they're gonna help us actually,
Okay.
with the installation. Yeah,
Yeah.
So this is going to happen,
so far.
So far, yeah. So this is the area where there were already some that they,
There's,
right?
no,
That wasn't this.
that was
Okay.
behind Sagamore. So there's a colony that's, right where your index finger is kind of. Maybe a
Right.
little bit further east, but you can kind
Yeah.
of see,
I've walked by that.
and
That's a pretty big,
we may not make it all the way down there anyway.
Yeah.
It's the residents from Coal Creek Crossing that are really concerned about the migration getting close to them, even though it's pretty far away still. So the fence may not go that completely. But, we're starting
yeah,
with that.
hopefully in Boulder County. Hopefully they know that Pueblo is still open through a portion of October. Can't remember the date, if it's the end of October, if they do need to do some.
And they may just move them.
Yeah, that would be
Back.
best. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's
Okay.
onto their property, basically.
So I, just a question about that, because I know like more on this side, there's area that's designated like education area, right? Like prairie dog education area, like this is pretty close to that, isn't it?
I don't
And I can't
know about
remember on what
that,
document it shows that.
because
but-
that is Boulder County space.
Right.
But
right.
yeah. I don't know. What, he must be here for the next meeting.
Okay, yeah.
I saw Boulder County, maybe it was just last week out on the Colton Trailhead. They're going to lead a class for El Dorado students about prairie dogs.
Oh, cool.
Interesting. El Dorado fourth graders.
Yeah.
What other updates do you?
And then just a final reminder, October 4th is 5:30 to 7:30 this Saturday is the program with Ashley Duloc over for Owls and Bats. Anybody wants to join that? Owls and Bats. Well,
And tell me again where they're meeting.
they're meeting at Community Park, so I think it's a basketball court.
Great.
Yeah, basketball court, like 5:30. That's it.
Thanks. All right, Leslie.
Okay, I got a list, so I'll go fast. Let me know if you need more info. We submitted the CPW non-motorized trail grant yesterday, so that went in. I will say that the one area where we're weak is on data for counting usage. So the counters will help out, and just saying that we're getting some, I think will be helpful, but to actually have some hard data that we can reference, I think.
Is that specific to Cody Ridge?
Yes, that's,
It's
it's
difficult to
for,
know where to put counters because if somebody
I know,
closes to enter that. space.
Yeah.
I know, and maybe you guys can make some recommendations, but, yes, it's for the planning, trail planning. So, coming up with, like, how are we gonna name trails? How are we gonna do difficulty ratings? Where do we need trail signage? What do the trail signs say? Where do we need interpretive signage? It might go as far as recommending or identifying areas that need work. The hard part about this is, so you submit in October, you have to do a online presentation in January, and you're notified in June. So it's a really long process, so we won't have that funding for quite some time.
Are you needing the data right now on the front end to submit as part of that?
We'll need it the next time we submit, so, cause it was due October 1st.
Oh,
So I can always like if we had additional information if I get selected to do a presentation, then January, if we have data, that would be great.
okay.
So,
Okay.
so that's in the loop. I think I mentioned this at the last meeting that we were hiring a project management firm to help with our wildfire mitigation. So they're fully online, and I'm totally impressed with their ability to jump in. They've been out on site. They've went and evaluated all the locations that the FEMA grant is going to help with fire mitigation. We had a serious talk about habitat and wildfire mitigation and having a balance there. And I think they fully understand that, and they're doing a great job kind of identifying like hazardous limbs or trees, but only if they're like near the trail or they're going to fall across the waterway, or otherwise they'll mitigate around the base versus taking the tree. So to try and maintain as much habitat as we can and still reduce that fuel load. So we're getting ready to select the actual vendor to do the work. And that goes to our town council on the 13th for approval. I think we have a great selection, and hopefully when that gets approved, they'll jump right in and start with some of that kind of late season fall mowing, and they will be doing quite a bit of limbing along Rock Creek. They've identified, I think, 20 trees that have hazardous limbs or snags already in them, some widowmakers, but really I think they had like 1 or 2 trees was it. So I think that will hopefully strike that balance with everybody. We've given them access to SitSci so they know where all the nesting sites are, and they actually took pictures of some when they were going out on site. So you know, we communicated the importance of not disturbing the nesting sites, especially during nesting season. That's in the works. Mile High Flood District, I have a meeting with them on the 20th to go over their vegetation plan. So it's basically for both Rock Creek and Coal Creek, and how to plan for revegetation after we've done some of these removals and wildfire mitigation, how to do that without impacting future flood mitigation. So we're not planting a tree and cutting it down, that sort of thing. So
Thank you for that.
I mean,
Setting that up.
this is like, they're no joke. This is they're putting out some significant funding to bring in experts for this plan. So I'm really thankful that they're doing that.
And they weren't originally including Coal Creek, right?
Right.
Yeah, so that's good.
Yeah. So, I mean, it shouldn't be that much different.
Mm-hmm.
So I think,
Great.
and I think it's something new that they really haven't done before for communities. So, that'll be great. The Coyote Ridge parking lot and ADA trail, that is out to bid. Bids are due Friday, and the selected firm will go to council for approval on the 13th, I believe, for that one. 13th of the 27th. Actually, it might be the 27th. So that project, hopefully we can wrap that up fairly quickly. And then just so folks know, if you see some construction equipment on the southeast corner of Coyote Ridge, Excel's working on a gas line, main line extension. So there is a easement through that property. They kind of forgot to tell us, but that they're going to be shooting that main line under Highway 128. So that'll probably be torn up for a little bit. I think those are all.
What about the trees that you had extra? I meant to get down by the creek, like for Rock Creek.
But anything.
You mean the cottonwoods?
Yeah, the cottonwood, right?
So they're a donation from a staff member who threw his back out. And so, I will ask him about how we can help collect them and get them from his
Okay.
property because he's,
I'm not gonna give them.
I don't think it's, it's gonna be a couple more weeks before he's ready to.
Oh, yeah,
to
no.
big carry, so
Yeah,
we'll,
and if there's.
I'll try and get it.
help needed, let us know.
yeah.
Well, and you would ask before, like where along the creek should we plant those, and I gotta admit, my husband and I walked up and down that a few times, but. There are so many places I think it would benefit, but we just felt like we weren't qualified enough to say, so that's why I'm wondering where with Mile High flood district comes through and they can have, or, have a perspective on where they could go, then when it does happen.
We can also ask our arborist to go
Okay.
walk and maybe
Mm-hmm.
choose some spaces that, and we have the map of the floodway, so we can kind of use our best judgment, keep
Yeah.
out of the 100-year flood, but still
Okay.
plan them where the water table isn't too deep since we don't have irrigation out there.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, cool.
but yeah, I'll give you an update on their delivery.
And are the goats coming back in November?
They should be back November 22nd. They're scheduled to start in Oak Tree Park, and I think they want to have an event sometime in November. And if they give me an update, because sometimes they get done a few days early, a few days late, I'll shoot it out to you all. And then they'll most likely go to Vista Corridor after that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And then, seems like I ask this all the time, but could you remind me of the funding stream? So is this the FEMA or is this summer the FEMA?
It will be FEMA through the end of the year, so that probably will incorporate both Oak Tree Park and Vista Corridor. And then the Boulder County funding is for the cold weather grazing. I think we're looking at putting them in the open space south of us on the other side of Rock Creek Circle.
Okay.
And up through there. That'll be a little bit more protected for them in the winter time. Not too much wind and exposure for the goats. So the way we have it set up right now is that funding stream will flip flop. Summer warm weather grazing is FEMA grazing. Winter cool weather grazing is Boulder County funding. It's a little lighter in the winter just because they move a little bit slower. There's not as much nutrition in that grass. And that funding is at 50%. The town matches 50% for the county funding. For the FEMA grant, we're only matching 70%. So that's a really great deal.
You mentioned the arborist. I sent you that email that I also sent to Matt about planting trees and not watering them.
Yes.
I mean, a lot of examples of the last, whatever, 30 years. Do we have a policy? Do we have, what sort of, plan, does the department get rewarded for trees planted? Or trees that survive 3 years, or, it seems like maybe we have a misalignment in metrics, because we aren't ending up with a lot of trees that are dying. I mean, I'm hand watering some trees in the neighborhood because they weren't gonna make it when it was hot.
And
I'm
that's,
literally hauling 5-gallon jugs down to water.
they should all have drip irrigation or
When they're.
rotors that reach them.
Well, but a sprinkler head's not gonna, a new tree isn't gonna survive with just a sprinkler. Rarely, I mean, maybe, but I over the years have seen lots.
It's the challenge that we have because that's what our irrigation system is in a lot of places are the rotors. And, we do our best to pick a spot where they'll be successful. It absolutely is not as great as having a drip line,
Right.
But that requires reworking the whole zone.
Or even just the bags, we have now, the water bags that you can put on trees now, which is better than nothing.
It
For
is,
sure.
it is. We do that a lot of time in the winter,
Yeah.
for some of those, but, yeah, it is a challenge that we have challenging soils.
Yes, we do.
And challenging wind, but the trees that are planted through a vendor,
Mhm.
so, whether it's, our landscape company or another, nursery, are typically warranted for 2 years, so they will replace them.
I was gonna say, I've seen the largest trucks, with the portable water.
Yeah, we have
Maybe that's
one.
an option.
Yeah, we have one portable water tank, but we do have like 7,000 trees in town, so it's tough. But I agree with your concern in that area. We certainly don't want to have a revolving door with trees more than we need to.
Right, it's a waste of a pretty tree and
Yeah,
and just the money to put it in, so.
And disappointing, seeing that.
Town council, do you have any updates for us?
I don't really have any updates. I know you all know about how the vote went with Town 15, so here to answer your questions, if you guys have any questions on that, but basically the vote was to stay the same, stay the course. I know my main concern around it, and I think a lot of what that would look like if it became open space, so. I don't want to speak for the council, but I think we need a question, even we were discussing it on the last council meeting, but here to answer questions if you have them.
I just offer I think this was a great demonstration. I emailed the team too. I think this is how the process works. And so as an OSAC committee, we can continue to provide the best recommendation that we can, surely from an OSAC perspective. And so I don't think that changes our mission one bit. We're going to continue to do that. And I say that because I was pulled aside by someone who said, well, don't you think the OSAC should talk about what could be better? Like, no, I mean, that's really, we're focused on wild space and, wildlife, just, but if you could take one concern that I have with it, is over the course of the meeting, there was one trustee who said that OSAC's position had shifted. And I'm really confused by that, and I had to go back and listen to it again. But our position, if you could just convey it, and if council needs more from us, we update our document every year, and it has not shifted. The only thing that maybe is caused some confusion is we went before council to say if it is rezoned as open space recreation, we have considerations. And so there were council members who thought that our position had clearly shifted. So no, we wanted as open space recreational. So that was just a bit confusing for me to listen to twice. And it just tells me that there might be confusion on council.
And that was a little bit confusing for me too, because I remember that very meeting. It was like during COVID shutdown. I remember where I was and the comments that I raised when we were meeting with that consultant and working on that ProStack plan. So I was like, I don't remember us pivoting at all.
Well, that was another part of it
stayed
that
pretty
was mentioned
consistent.
in that meeting was the ProStack plan, which it has two courses of action. One, leave it as it is, or B, make it recreation. So,
Right.
Yeah.
And we had members on OSAC at that time who were historically who preceded a number of us. And I was like, when I joined, I was under the impression we were definitely going for open space. So that was surprising to me too. I don't remember pivoting, but so, but I guess the whole thing gives me just a little bit of pause, and maybe it's not so much a question. I was going to bring it up during just roundtable anyway, but since we're talking about it, it gives me pause around the part of our mission that is acquisition of open space and how we're working towards that and the rankings that we do. I mean, obviously not everything on our list is, has that capacity for commercial, but like, do we need to continue going through this exercise every year of ranking and trying to figure out how to acquire parcels for open space if we have a board that's not open to that right now? And there's a couple properties that continually rise to the top, and are we to spend time pursuing options for how to look at funding those or not? Because to me, it seems like a futile exercise if
you know, if the town council is looking at these parcels as, no, we really wanna look at these as tax generating potential commercial properties. So that's just something I've been thinking about is like, do we continue to go through this exercise or put that part of our mission aside for a while? So, yeah, that's just, I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's not something I'm interested in spending a lot of time on if the value is not there from the current board. So, that's just my thought on that.
What other thoughts are out there?
I mean, I watched, you know, all the town council meetings on it. I was left feeling a little strange on some of the comments that were made about the appraisal, because I'm sitting there thinking, why hasn't the appraisal come up? Because that was clearly one of the actions from the last town council meeting, and it didn't come up, and then someone had to and then it seemed like a little bit of confusion as to why was that not made public. And then one of the town council members stated, well, not public because we're negotiating something, and then you're like, well, what's really going on? It just left me feeling like, you know, as if just always been decided. And we're, to your point, like there's a lot of, you know, people are investing a lot of time in trying to, you know, put their opinions forward but is it already kind of just, I don't know, they just, I have to admit, left me feeling a little bit like that when only because of that appraisal comment. And well, we can't do that because we're negotiating, and it, I don't know, just left me thinking, this whole thing been a little bit of a waste of time.
I think there might have been a little historical context around that. Maybe before I was even on OSAC, I think maybe there were some discussions when Coyote Ridge was being negotiated and not wanting like all those hours.
But you get one anyway when you do a deal. You get one anyway when you buy. So yeah, so that's why I was like,
but at least like the one part of the appraisal is like, okay, well, that gives us a different number now to have in mind versus that $1 million, like
which we knew it wouldn't be.
Which we knew it wouldn't be, but it gives us just, I think, a more concrete frame of reference and what we're working with there. So
yeah, I get where, you know, I get the town council's view and that we don't know yet, so let's not change anything. Right, I get that. I mean, that's really it's not like anyone said we're 100% going to go develop on this. It was just at this time, we're not comfortable with changing it. Right. Because there's a lot of options in the future that could happen, so we're not going to change it. So I get that, but.
And I think the whole thing, and we talked about it, and not that everyone is tuning into our OSAC meetings. I mean, I understand that, but for years, our position has been, we are not a resident activist group.
Right.
And through this whole process, and I guess this is worth, you know, taking back to council, is that it's exhausting. It is exhausting anytime the town has a sense of, well, we need to have public engagement. Let's find out what people have to say. And as your OSAC committee, we're saying, well, here's our position that we've had. We want to make sure that you have it, you know, just thumbs up that we're, and that part of it, and getting back to the whole document, I mean, it is exhausting. To always have to be on guard for, is town council having a meeting? Is planning commission gonna have a meeting? Who's gonna have a meeting that we heard about in the neighborhood today? Because we need to make sure that people know that town 15 is not a new topic. And that part is exhausting. But I think that at the end of the day, I really think it's great that the town council had all kinds of input from the town, right? That's what it's all about. And you vote and we move forward. And I think that's just a terrific demonstration of our town working.
I have one thing that came up when I was watching, and Neil was talking about how the pros plan. One of the suggestions was a wildlife corridor buffer, you know, the north side of the property. And we're certainly seeing wildlife down Long Rock Creek, but that's not on the property. But I was like, oh, you know, knowing, you know, my sense of where this is headed is some sort of, right, who knows what form, but I could be wrong, nonsense. But it would be lovely to have a wildlife corridor along the northern portion. And I'm wondering if moving a camera up there would help. Now, if we were to do that, we could move the camera that's on Rock Creek. But typically where our cameras have gone have been in trees or other existing infrastructure, for lack of a better term. And that doesn't exist on Town 15. So we would have to put in a stake or something like that, which is fun, we can do that. But it would be more obvious, you know, than it has been. Most of the time they're trees, you know, pretty, I mean, people find it, once people are, you know, lots of pictures of kids. But, anyway, I thought I'd throw that out and see what you guys think of moving a camera over there to see if we're seeing. I mean, we hear from the neighbors that they see deer and other things coming across in that northern corridor. Anyway, thoughts on that?
That's a great idea. I think that's great. It's good to move them around.
Yeah, I like it. Not that it sways a council vote,
No.
but I think it at least provides information, because it is also equally exhausting to hear people say that there is no wildlife there.
Right. Well, I think that it's
insulting, actually, to people who are actually looking at it. It's insulting.
I think it would be good for us to have some data, right?
Yeah.
And obviously putting one camera somewhere isn't guaranteed to show definitively anything.
Right.
But if we see a lot of animals there, we would have some data to say, yes, we actually feel pretty strongly about protecting that northern corridor. And have some, just some data. So anyway, if everybody's in support of that, again, like I said, it'll be more obvious than some of our other cameras or placements. So I just wanted to be clear about that.
I think all that data is super helpful for all the submissions we make. I think that's why I was saying, like, from the documents that Peter has generated and that you've been a part of, like wildlife encouragement, all of that data, I think is really helpful. So that goes along with it,
right?
I think.
But Tracy, how did you pick that spot? You know, to place them?
Well, I don't know, right? And I have to talk about, and typically I do this with Jeff and Peter. And we go look for animal prints, scat, you know, different signs of animals. And pick spot. But again, it's not a scientific, well, I guess it's scientific in the sense of looking for signs of animals,
Right.
but it's not, there's no
Experts using it.
Yeah.
I just thought this one might be a little more challenging because you don't have like the trees to put it in, and if you don't get good results initially, you can move to another tree. Well, you put a post. So
But in some ways it's easier. It's harder in that sense.
okay.
But it's easier because we are limited to trees and we can't have a bunch of stuff right in front of the tree, right? And so like we wanted to put it originally, we went to place it where it is now on Rock Creek. We wanted to put it on the Town 15 side of the road, so on the north side of Colton. But we couldn't find anywhere where there was clear vision down in the creek bed. It was just so overrun in there that I'm sure there's animals down there, but there's nothing to put a camera down there. So in that sense, Town 15 is easier. We've got pretty wide open spaces and the camera would have pretty good, you know, roll and straight on vision to capture whatever is coming through.
Do you think it would be possible to ask one of the residents if they would be willing to put it on the fence?
I mean, certainly could knock on some doors.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, mounting putting a stake in the ground, I mean.
Yeah, and we can, if you wanna pick a spot, we can put the stake.
Okay. Okay, well, maybe we'll do that. Cause I have some tree stakes, I mean, you know, because we don't need a lot, right? I mean, the camera's pretty, it's not a big, we have to have the camera and the solar panel, but we're not super hard, but a good stake would be nice.
So I do have something that's less of a commentary on how I feel our time is being used, and maybe more of a question to take back to the council, and that is along with, I think I asked this at our joint dinner that we had about, is the board supportive of us looking at and continuing to pursue potential outside funding options to acquire open space. And I think I was asking that specifically on 15 Zaharias, I don't remember which, and I think everybody nodded at that meeting, which now I question that. And also we pretty consistently in the last several years have listed one of those two properties for our Boulder County requests, and that is actually requesting funding from Boulder County to acquire parcels for open space. So if the board is not entertaining the possibility that those parcels could be looked at for open space, should we be removing them, like not listing those on our Boulder County open space request? Submission goes in every year. Should we not be looking at funding sources? Which, you know, we've been going through all of the Coal Creek properties, so that's kind of been on the back burner, but we've talked about grants and looking at, you know, all these external organizations and how could we, you know, crowdsource, raise millions to pursue some of these. So I guess that's a question. Do we pause on all of that? Do we pull like the Zaharias property, for example, off of that open space request? Because if we were to get something and we go back to the council and it's no, we aren't open to that right now. That is actually a question I have.
And I think to speak to some of the concerns about, I'll answer a few that I've heard, and correct me if I'm hearing it wrong. For that one specifically, I think we're gonna know a whole lot more when we get that comprehensive plan back. Through this discussion of Town 15, we've been looking at opportunity areas. That's the first time we've really seen feedback on any of those, was when we had this Town 15 discussion. And so all that's kind of new information for us, and we're still digesting it. It's not even final yet. So I think that's going to give us a lot more clarity to be able to answer those types of questions, because right now, I know for myself, I don't have the information to really say one way or the other. I know for Town 15, we're not looking at a current development. It was more, Jen actually brought it up. I ended it saying, let's just look at making this open space. Admittedly, both of us were like, we kind of jumped at that. We should have probably waited for that comprehensive plan, especially as we're going through budget, looking through the finances, and what does that even really look like? So the appraisal comment that Matt made, saying, you know, we haven't, because I didn't realize that we hadn't released the appraisal. So when that came up, I think we're all pretty surprised that it wasn't released, and all kind of wondering why hasn't it been released. I would think that would be made public. Town manager Magley had mentioned that the reason it hasn't been historically released when we get things like that back is because if there is a developer that comes to us, which there isn't right now, makes sense. But if one came, we kind of lose our negotiating power if we're giving out the appraisal. And we ended up just giving it out anyway. My question around that was, do we need to wait to see what we've been doing before we release that, so that we're not taking that away? And then as soon as it was out of my mouth, I was thinking, I wonder, I know if you're doing a deal, you have to get an appraisal done anyway. You know, the jig is on it, they're gonna see what's but obviously the 30 million that Boulder County is saying it's worth is vastly different than what the appraiser's saying it's worth. And so those were big swings in the numbers. So that was good to have something solid, but there's no developer that's approached us right now. And so don't be fearful that, you know, there was any sort of negotiating happening, because that's definitely not the case.
Thanks.
Yeah, just to calm everybody's nerves there. And then as far as I know, for me, and I can only speak for me, I can't speak for council on this, but I appreciate all the rankings and stuff that you guys do, or, you know, other committees are ranking playgrounds and everything else. All that information I know I take in when we're making decisions to say, well, you know, our committees are residents that are telling us what the direction should be. And every committee obviously has a different mission, you know, to Kara's point. OSAC should always be representing OSAC and open space and wildlife and you know, everything that encompasses. And so we understand that your lens is going to be maybe different than Park, which is going to be different than ACE's. But I know for me, I appreciate all those different perspectives, because even though they might be conflicting, you know, it's helpful to have all the different perspectives then weigh out, you know, no one is more important than the other, and they all kind of play into that final decision. So I certainly don't want you spinning your wheels either, so, like I said, I can only speak for me, but I read all those reports and I kind of see where things are ranking, and it helps me when I'm making decisions, but I certainly don't want you spending time on that if that's something that, you know, the council decides based on whatever this comprehensive plan says, to say, we're gonna kind of focus this parcel on maybe this type of development or non-development or park amenity or whatever that might look like. So I think, at least for me, and I think probably for the majority of council right now, until we get that back and we really see what those recommendations are and kind of see if we agree with them or if we don't agree with them, you know, what our residents and committees are saying, it's kind of hard to say for sure right now.
The one thing that I am hoping the comprehensive plan, and I've suggested that I've never received confirmation that it will be included. But as I look at the 2012 comprehensive plan,
yeah,
and they're finishing up this one, when I'm looking at the 2038 comprehensive plan,
yeah,
and hopefully if town 15 is still as it is, it would be great in that 2038 to look at the 2025 plan and say that the reason why it is still the way it is because of all of the public engagement for over 50. I think that's the part that is missing. I don't think the comprehensive plan is going to be some sort of magic for town council to make decisions. I honestly, this Karis take method, I don't think there's going to be anything substantive in there beyond talking about, you know, opportunities to build, which is fine. I just think this special one of town 15, because of all of that public engagement, it deserves at least a sentence or two,
yeah,
to say that the reason why it is the way it is because hundreds of people have come out to say, you know, leave it alone or build. It's just been contentious and very divisive. And I think if I'm looking at the 2038 plan and there's not that context, all of this, and I certainly wouldn't want to participate in the survey again.
yeah, I think that's completely fair.
Since we're talking about the comprehensive plan, they're having their last open house on October 23rd, 5 to 7 p.m. here.
October 23rd.
Anybody's interested?
It's 5 to 7, right?
5 to 7 p.m.
I do think it's interesting because I've been to some of those engagements too, and I think it's fantastic when they have the maps and they talk about what people would maybe want in the town. But even that, those are ideas, those aren't requirements to make it happen. You know, and it's just I have seen that happen in our town before where, you know, 60 people want something and here comes a traffic circle. Does that mean that, you know, enough people didn't show up? Maybe. I mean, I don't know. Just because I think they're great suggestions. That doesn't mean requirements. That's a whole other process. What other items do you guys have for? Because our next agenda item actually is town council meetings. We talked a lot about town 15. Thank you for that. Is there anything else that we're doing as a committee that you want us to think about taking to? So that this little sliver is where we talk about ideas that maybe we should consider bringing to town council. Let's move on to our open space management plan.
And I don't have a lot of updates. I'm just continuing to work with the consultant on getting our material in there and getting it formatted. I am looking forward to the opportunity of getting input from Rupert and Louisville if they choose to meet with us in November. So I have reserved.
They said next summer.
They want to do next summer, so it'd be only Louisville at this point.
Right, and we haven't heard back, right?
That's what part is.
For them, they asked like what time we meet, which is 6 o'clock, maybe at 6:45. So they're trying to see if they can start early. So that's-
Start early, start here, yeah.
And I do
Okay.
have a town hall reserved for that
Oh, great.
evening, so we'll have some elbow room.
Oh, I hope that was great.
It's interesting that we're doing our main plan right now, and they're doing this big guiding the future of pros, the rec center and golf courses project right now. And you'll laugh about this, because he and I were biking over Aquarius Trailhead and got filmed by a drone for Louisville's program.
Awesome.
So, we'll shop in your feed more,
You are just the camera.
it was just kind of like, and we were just out riding and he's like, hey, can I film you? And I said, what are you doing? Because clearly he was doing something, right? I'm working with City of Louisville, they're doing this big futures planning, and so anyway, but what they have all kinds of stuff that they're sending out. Anyway, it's just kind of a nice model. I thought maybe I should forward it to everybody so you can see what they're doing.
That'd be great to see. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're not eligible to vote, but we can certainly look at their materials.
That's great.
Okay, so we're just really waiting for Louisville. Okay. Anything else on open space management plan?
No, if we get it to a point where, the formatting looks like it's ready for a review, I won't wait for our next meeting. I'll just send it out and you can provide input individually back on that or at the next meeting.
Approval of 919 property purchase. What do we need to do with this?
That right now is, we're just waiting on Mile High Flood District to put together their IGA. That's usually their first step, and then they get it approved by their board for funding in the first quarter of 2026. And the town, budget for 2026 currently has funding in there for our piece of that. And that budget will hopefully get final approval on October 13th. Sometimes it takes 2 meetings, so, but sometime in October, hopefully it'll be official.
I think we do the first read during the first meeting and then we do the second meeting.
Exactly. And didn't we need to note in our support for them moving forward in that we support the purchase of that property and that it needs to be rezoned open space natural?
And I think
Is
we
that
can
correct?
do that at the time of purchase if you want to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
I
we
mean,
don't need to do it.
We don't need to do anything.
I don't think you need to. You certainly can if you want to do that and take a vote, but
I just thought that would be a way of
sure,
having it on the record and then.
We don't have
absolutely.
to come back and do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we can put it in the notes.
Yeah. So I will so move.
Second.
Amber.
All in favor, and
Aye.
And I can't see what Todd's
You
doing.
can't see Todd because he's got a fixed face. Oh, there you go.
They're in the.
thank you. That's great.
That's very good. Thank
Good
you
team
for that.
Awesome. Okay, now trail ranking review round 2.
Yes.
How do you want to do that? Be done.
Largely, how did the second round go, everyone? And from your experience in doing it, was it?
Well,
Lots of
and also,
trails.
I felt like, and from, at least in my case, came out representing what my actual views were a little more closely. The first time I was like, wow, I'm not in favor of this particular trail, but couldn't tell from my rankings, and it was not for the second. So I felt like it was improved.
So next year, when you do this again, and you guys remember everything that you potentially want us to change on it, so we can get that done before we send it out and make it go through it twice again.
Right. I think so, and I
Because I felt kind of bad
something,
about that.
yeah, I think I brought up a couple points last meeting and I have those documented, so I can send those again, send those. But one of the things I thought of too, as I was going through the second time, is whether safety should be a part, the criteria. Because if you look at a couple of the trails, they really are, you know, doing what we're proposing would really reduce danger kind of aspect. So like the one over, you know, the Marshall Road one, you know. and
Yes.
that's-
Yes.
Yeah.
And then even the fire, right, you look at that.
Oh,
one,
yeah.
it's like I went down that a few weeks ago and I'm like, I think I'm gonna fall and roll down this hill and hit my head. So as I was going through this again, I thought, I wonder if that should be a criteria too.
You're right, that
I like
probably should outweigh like the fact that a social trail is already somewhere.
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
personal.
Well, it was wonderful to see that personal preference, because on that Pirate Park, exactly, I like going straight up.
Yeah, I like
It's-
going straight up. but
So,
right now-
so creating the zigzag and removing that trail essentially.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
see it go away.
that's the thing is, well.
Yeah, but the straight up
Right.
isn't necessarily good for them.
I get that,
Okay, but you still like it.
where I've been going for many years.
It's a good point too, because I think in a lot of these cases where you have a social trail, if the social trail's not gonna go away by doing some of what we're doing, I mean, that's what we.
That's true, that's good.
The one thing I started thinking a lot more about is that, Rock Creek Trail, to Coyote Ridge, you know, right along McCaslin, and I was thinking so much of the wildlife data and this retaining wall, and I started getting a little bit worried about like, what do we do with wildlife crossing there? Because I think that's, I mean, we probably have to go back and look at the data, but
We don't have a lot of data out there at all.
yeah.
So we'd have to do a lot more work trying to do that.
Are you saying that the design would?
Well, I just
require-
was wondering how that would look, because I mean, I probably haven't documented them like I should, but I've seen, you know, plenty of coyote crossing there. Like, I wonder what that would look like if there's a retaining.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't know about a retaining wall, that's interesting.
Up it indicated that a retaining wall may be
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
required, I guess at one end of the trail.
maybe, more southern.
One southern,
Or
yeah.
if you
Where the water is or.
walk, if you go and take it, Todd had explained, he can explain it better than I, but he had explained just where that part was, and if you go
Close to
along, I'm like,
Belmont.
oh, yeah,
Yeah, it goes down a little bit.
Maybe it wouldn't be as big of an issue as what I was envisioning.
I've been on a while to cross it.
Well, that's what I was thinking, like, okay, I don't know.
that is the one-way crossing, or is?
No, I said, let's put it
Put it
in
on.
one. It's only a few million.
But those are pretty cool.
They're super cool.
I
But the last
when I was
thing
at Costa, we went to a session on that.
Yeah,
It's really interesting.
yeah, and they're fascinating, and so many success stories, but not cheap.
Cross that bridge when we get to it, but I was like, oh, that would be a consideration, not throw
Yeah.
an additional barrier and. Anyway. Just
But there, and that's all landscape, right? Isn't it? It's not open space, right? I've been.
Yeah, that entryway, where Indiana is,
Yeah,
has some landscape and then it shoots up the hill, yeah.
pretty steep.
Before the Coyote Ridge starts.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, this is north of Coyote Ridge,
Okay,
and that, more to the west side.
you're talking about this red line. This
Yeah.
red line.
Yeah, yes,
I just think that's a good connector to think about, because if you were on Colton Trailhead and you want to go to Coyote Ridge.
Oh, yeah.
you
The
can,
other option is you have to go into the neighborhood, or you have to go on the
Yeah.
road, which is super.
No, I totally agree. I mean, it was like top.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's top on my list
Yeah.
too, and I'll be honest with you, I can't remember if the ranking came out that way, but to me, that is the most in demand.
Yeah, especially since
place
we're
that I just say,
developing
and like,
and planning for Coyote Ridge.
because it's like there's fences right there, right? Like, so they're not. it's not
Yeah,
like they're
that's
crossing, they're going. Down a corridor.
Yeah, I think if we'd probably get a whole new design, or I don't know if we go with a previous bid if this ever moves forward. So. or Previous design.
That was a good exercise.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't had time to compare them yet. How the second round compared to the first, did things shake out
No, I didn't compare it to the first. You want me to add that in and send that out?
Don't create, no, I'm just
Okay.
kidding.
But I did just during the meeting send the voting summary again to
Yeah.
everybody, because I noticed that I had reverse ranked the summary, you know, where I put the trail vote ranked. I had them upside down. I was like, what the heck was I thinking?
What do you mean?
The one that was the top ranked, I had as the bottom in the group. I'm like, what was I thinking?
Oh, that's funny.
So anyway, I corrected that and emailed out that to all of you tonight, so that you have one that's actually ranked.
And then what was the top? In
L.
the one, I'm not.
The Marshall Road underpass and connection to Mayhofer single trail.
Okay.
And AB was the second one, and that's Pirate Park.
Okay.
And then F was the third one, which is the Rock Creek Trail to Coyote Ridge connector that we were just talking about.
I think it's great that we brought back this exercise, though.
Agreed.
It'll help us with future budget recommendations and prioritize.
And I think it's kind of helped all of us to sort of focus on it differently, whereas before we're like, oh, well, what do you think about this trail? Like in a vacuum, whereas this is.
So where does public input come, honestly? Because one of the things I noticed in, it's in the little blue connector. That was.
G, the blue is G,
Okay, yeah, right, G.
but it's on the same slide as that,
Right,
so that's why, yeah.
And it just said something, there was concern from a few residents that this, would, you know, about that going through like their little, grassway there or whatever. That seems not to be a big deal anymore.
Yeah.
And so if we're gonna look at these equally and get public input like that one maybe had, I think we need to get public input on all of them.
I think that was a holdover from the previous iteration of this project.
Yeah, and I do get that,
Maybe,
but it's a
yeah,
comment,
no,
right?
you're
that people
absolutely
take
right.
into Consideration.
Would it be something you would consider when potential funding is a little
Yeah.
closer to like right
Yeah.
now? We're doing this exercise for hope that someday we'll have funding for some of these, or at least we can pursue them
Right.
with this information. But I think sometimes it can be confusing to the public if you survey them and then you
Don't do anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If the council, if it was before the council, then that would be public hearing anyways.
I think any trail, any significant trail improvement or new trail connection would require some good public input.
Okay, good, I was just wondering about it.
I think we saw that with the pedestrian bridge.
Oh, of course.
And the industrial mine trail is still on our list, still on our vocal list, right? Okay.
Yes. That we sent for sure, yeah.
Yeah, that was gonna be my question is what are we doing with this? Is it just to have it ranked and then we them from engineer?
Well, and every year there's money in the capital fund for our initiatives. Now, it doesn't mean they'll actually get funded.
Yeah, right.
But
Well, and we actually received some funding that we need to find a use for, because we asked for funding for the trail on the west side of McCaslin, and I think we asked for $1 million and they gave us 250,000. We can't do anything with 250,000. So the question may come back to us, okay, what's the best use of this money? And I think your ranking system is gonna be a great tool for that.
well, and then too, the work that you and Todd are doing in Coyote Ridge.
Yeah, I think that's why the trail makes a lot of sense to look at
Yeah.
early on, just because of the
The
plan was
connector.
built. Yeah, the connector, so you're not on the road. So it
Yes.
goes to the neighborhood.
Yeah, if you look at the need, I mean, that one's just so. Right.
Thanks everyone for doing that.
Yeah, no, well, the spreadsheet was well done, so it's easy to
Well,
figure it all
You
out.
are
it's
Yeah,
because
a master.
Master, so.
Okay, let's move on to the rodenticides campaign. Have we seen or had new publications or?
I don't think we've had anything
Anything
new.
new?
I am working with the comms department to put together a piece to go to the HOAs. Trying to make it like friendly, here's some information if you choose to distribute it to your membership, kind of thing, so. And make that available pretty much to anybody who would like it, but they've put together some great information with your help and input, so I think we can continue to put that out.
Well, and I forwarded the information that you sent to me, to Casey at Principal Creek to share with the other towns.
Oh, good, that's great. So the birth control product that we're using, so, yeah.
So hopefully we get a little more update.
Yeah.
Outside.
Well, and maybe that's a topic for when we meet jointly with other cities.
Yes,
So
that would be a great topic to meet with them. Discuss with them.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. We're doing all right. We're ahead of the time. Our intent is to finish our work plan review and then ratify it. So vote for it so we can have council review it and approve as well and have it teed up. And since next month, we're hoping to do a partner meeting. It'd be nice if we could do it today. I wasn't here at the last meeting. Did you broadcast up on the screen the work plan, or do you want to just?
I don't remember, did we?
yeah, I think you did Q1, Q2 and ongoing, I think.
And we talked about ongoing and asked, like, if anybody had anything that they see in the ongoing that we didn't cover last time to cover this one. So it's really 3 and 4 for sure.
Yeah, so let's look at 3 and 4 on big screen.
Do you wanna pull up the last one you sent me, the red line then?
Yeah. Yes, please. So that. And the one thing that was, added. Oh, the way you're displaying it on that. Hit the enable editing, maybe that one could show, because you've got the.
If you go to review.
Okay, so there, see that number 4, I just wanted to point out to you because of the feedback that we got from Broomfield.
Yeah.
I added that in summer for 2026.
Yes.
That's the only change beyond what we made at that meeting. And then, like Ari was saying, 3 and 4, or 3rd and 4th, I should say. Or one. Oh, and because of the way she's displaying her edits, you're not seeing what was in 1 and 2. Those were the first one was review criteria and open space continuity parcel document ranking review moved to 2nd quarter in 2026. So that's now up in 2nd quarter. And the same thing, number 2 is review update open space summary report and recommendations moved to 2nd quarter in 2026. So they just both got moved up. Yep. They didn't go away, they just got moved. And you go up, you could make that display if you go up to the review tab. Yeah. And then make all markup instead of simple markup. Step up in the middle. Whoop, you were just
Simple markup?
yeah, do a simple markup and instead of simple, drop down and select all markup. Oops, nope. There. And that makes everything show.
You really are a master.
No, I'm not with Word. Word makes me cringe, but
Okay. First.
We reviewed this 5 times.
Yeah.
First, second, quarterly plan. The third,
We need to look
fourth.
at 3rd, 4th, and then ongoing.
Right.
So 4th quarter, is that something we have to think about deciding now about the update trail continuity document, moving that third quarter.
Well, that was one of the things that, I think that was Todd and I that had talked about that,
Give us more time.
give us a more time.
I mean, because third quarter got a little light between those two
Yeah.
items anyway.
Well, and also became that, your point that, and maybe in third quarter is too late for this, but they thought maybe not those October deadlines you said are pretty typical of the trail grant stuff. So third quarter seemed like a reasonable.
I think it makes sense in light of the fact that we moved two items.
And then we can just have it teed up, ready to go, if we have that opportunity, that would be great. Do we have anything about close now? We can put it up. That was in first quarter, wasn't
Or is it,
Yeah.
it's there somewhere.
It's right there, so.
Second.
Oh, that, all right here.
And that still gives us enough time.
Do you wanna put somewhere in the first quarter support of the purchase of the 919 property? Which we know that could be queued up, hopefully to go to council, that would be important.
I mean,
Is
is that
that
about today? Do we need to do anything?
No, it's just that, it'll be a good reminder, and if you wanna, if anybody wants to come and say anything, you
I
can.
don't know if that needs to be in the work plan though.
Yeah.
Although do we have something in ongoing that has us making sure that we're following up with?
Staying abreast of,
Yeah,
potential
maybe for the
acquisitions.
ongoing.
we could do that.
I don't know, what do you want to think?
It can,
Would that fall under the number 8 in ongoing, continue to monitor and provide input on open space considerations related to, oh, well, that's related to development plans, so that's really not.
I think it might be related to number in ongoing.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Although,
Must have rolled right past. Yeah, that makes much more sense.
so I think with number 2, instead of, we're gonna be beyond providing feedback, I think, on the comprehensive plan, I think what we're gonna need to do is integrate, what came out of that, into, I guess.
So don't remove, but
Maybe
revise.
apply
Yeah,
outcomes or something
yeah.
like that.
By opens, yeah.
Consider, consider the outcomes of the comprehensive plan, like in relation
Yes.
to,
Yes.
in relation to our work or something like that.
Or consider integration of, is that what we're talking about?
Well,
Of open space related feedback from the town comprehensive plan?
like I was just thinking about what we were saying earlier, and if there are opportunity areas identified, we probably should process how we're thinking about. I don't know, I feel.
No, I think that's a great idea. I'm just trying to figure out the wording that we want to put in there to.
I mean, it's probably just gonna be an agenda item at some point.
Probably, but it's good for us to.
Consider the results, consider the outcomes of the town comprehensive plan.
That's perfect.
In relation to open space.
And then now remove 3, right? Or that's not the conference. That's the open
That's
space
our
master
master
plan.
plan, yeah.
We should probably. So open space master. Number 3.
And so don't remember.
No, it's
Okay. Fine. Fire mitigation work. Provide tons of output to those outside agencies. Okay. Spending from open space fund, monitor board agendas and regional inputs. Regional concerns, broad input. Oh. Continue on. I told you I was tired.
Is your class lost today?
No.
Oh, dude.
Yesterday, you could still win tomorrow and move on to the next round. You got, I got the shirt. Oh, I got a lot of them. My W had to come down. Okay, how about number 9? Should we remove the Rocky Mount part? You know, because we aren't doing those updates.
I know, but we're still watching it though.
Okay.
Construction's done.
Yeah.
Rocky Mountain
Oh.
Freeway Trail construction.
Oh, access.
Our
to-
tunnel is done.
Yes.
You know why the bridge across,
Why, is it open yet?
yeah,
I don't
it
know.
was open and then it closed. And they say it's closed for construction.
Which one?
The bridge
Over Indiana.
over,
Indiana.
uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure.
I mean, I know Westminster, there was one woman at least who had a lot of problems with the whole thing. I don't know if she had any sway there, but anyway, it was done and open and then they closed it and now they still say it's.
But to your point, I mean, it's done, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Now there's an underpass on the 28 year.
Right.
I'm talking about the
Yes.
overpass on Indiana.
I haven't been through that underpass yet, but
I
I saw that.
I go by it all the time, but.
Yeah.
Oh, I've ridden it, it's nice. Looks cool.
Yeah, so to that point, I mean, I don't know if we need it.
Yeah, the underpass piece done, but Rocky Mountain Greenway Trail, does that incorporate both of those? There's an underpass and an overpass? I'm just not sure.
I don't know, let's-
Is.
It's
I mean, the Greenway's
been, that's
bigger.
been here.
Greenway, the whole thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's big.
Not like one.
And there's no plan for it to come into the town.
Looks like the county looks forward to opening that access point once final construction is finished and signed off by the engineer.
So maybe it wasn't quite safe.
It was open.
Oh, we acknowledge that access has been allowed by the contractor and apologize for the confusion.
Oh, okay, there you
Look
go.
forward to closing the bridge opening in the near.
Somebody jumped.
That's what it sounds like.
That's what it sounds like. Okay, so we leave that as is. Anything on the rest of the item?
Until look at it, and I never did think there is.
There are 6 more items after that. Continue to Sports Superior Raptor and Wildlife Monitoring.
That's gonna be.
Maintain the Superior Trails and Open Space Continuity Documents. Well, maybe based on the feedback we get from council,
Yeah.
that might be modified. Updating the open space funding projects.
Do we have anything about like weed borders and FEMA
Hmm,
and what?
I think that usually, at least historically, when I've been on, that has come up under the reevaluates, let's say, not marketing for community. I think that's on number 2 under the first quarter, isn't it? Oh, no, sorry, number 6 in the first quarter.
Do you think that captures it?
And it's not like you can't add something.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think the council sessions for work plans are in January, so. Somebody says, oh, we forgot that, we
Yeah,
still have time to
Okay.
put that together.
all right. Well, are we ready to?
We need a motion.
Yeah, so I recommend the Superior Town Council approve the 2026. Is that what we do for OSAC work plan? Would someone to second it?
All in, Tracy second.
And then raise your hand. Is probably.
Todd, we need your face.
Right. Thank you so much. Okay. We'll have that teed up for town council's review. I think that's fantastic. Thanks. Okay, let's go ahead and do our round table. Start with you, Rita, on my right. Do you have anything for the group?
I do not.
Christy? Joanne, it's good to see you. How you doing?
You're muted.
Doing okay. Sitting here
Good.
icing as we speak.
Good, it's very important. Awesome.
do you have anything for us for the roundtable?
Just that, well, WET is considering, going to a little bit of a different format and not necessarily meeting every month, but getting involved in projects and then meeting either online or in person for things, new items that we might consider. But since I can't lead a hike right now and our group is very small, we thought that might be the best way to go for a while.
Okay.
But we want to be involved in the project that Peter had proposed in Old Town for the spring, with those islands, the islands that he proposed last time. So we'll get involved in that and other things as they come up.
Thanks. Thanks. Continue to heal and get strong.
Thank you.
And Todd, how are you in Maine? Do you have anything for us?
No,
Are
I
you
No,
in
I do
Vermont?
not.
I thought you were in Oakland.
Maine.
Yeah, I thought you were in Maine.
yes, I am in Maine. Ogunquit.
Oh, good.
How many lobsters have you eaten today?
No lobsters, but lots of fish.
Yeah, wonderful. Do you have anything for our roundtable?
No, I don't think I do.
Okay, well, enjoy your time out there. We can't wait to hear about it.
Yeah, thank you.
Ari, do you have anything for us?
One thing that I wanted to mention was, I forgot to mention my updates, was last week I did like an easement site visit with Fuller County. We had a monitor, like who works for that departments. So we met up with two of them. We did a site visit with the conservation easements. They did Harney-Listoka, Coyote Ridge, mostly on the east side. They try to do it every year, but it's been every 2 years. So it's just basically taking pictures and updates and reports of like plant life, wildlife, things like that, like what's going on in these spaces. And then what was new to me is like I didn't know there was a conservation easement in Grassville Park. Just a very small section, which is interesting. But yeah, it was good. We spent a couple hours out there and said hi to the cows and
Go out with Rochelle from Bentel too, I think.
yeah, we're not going out. I think she's going to, we set up a meeting for next week to talk about CISI. I think she wants more information, like what it's about and how it's going, just the progress of that. So that's next Thursday, I believe. But yeah.
Ari, when you guys were out there, did it come up at all? I'm guessing not, but on that Listoka property, like that's listed in our Prairie Dog playbook, the southern portion of that, as option for Prairie Dog translocation food is local food. That had been all vetted before with Boulder County around easement and all of that, but did it come up at all?
It didn't come up. Yeah, they were just, it was mostly like observations and then wanted me to give some, like, you know, talk about like, oh, is there anything going on in these sites? Like, for example, like Coyote Ridge, I mentioned like there's gonna be a parking lot here soon. So maybe 2 years time, the next monitor that comes, there's a parking lot, you know, things like that. And they were trying to cover the bases of where the last monitor did not get to 2 years ago. So it didn't come up at that time.
I just don't want it to fall completely off their radar, like reminder, we did talk about this and, or not, but. You know,
And actually, that's a good point because their open space director is retiring for Boulder. So they're.
If you want to send me a quick description and I can forward it to her, because in a couple weeks, I'll be seeing her at COSA, but then she's going to send me the reports just so we have it in our records. So if you want to send me that and I can
send you that part of the Prairie Dog playbook that kind of documents, shows that history of that conversation. Yeah, I remember. Okay, thank you.
Anything else, Ari?
That's it.
Leslie?
I don't think I have anything additional.
Just an FYI, you already know this, but the Marshall Fire Remembrance Subcommittee, which is a mouthful, meets on this Friday to review one of the vendor proposals. And so making progress, but we'll see. That's it.
I don't have anything. I'm just wondering if I would be able to attend next month's meeting virtually. I just noticed that it falls right when I'll probably be with my mom through her new.
Yep.
Even if.
Even if-
it's a meeting.
It'll be,
Okay.
yeah, and we
Okay.
can broadcast from town hall.
Okay.
Fine, so. We might even.
See? I've been trying.
Yeah. So, assuming, I'm in the process of interviewing, for a board position in an organization called Project Animal Aid. It's a very cool organization that takes, I always say waste, and then people like medical waste, but there's a lot of waste in the medical industry, where they have plastics or machinery or, PPE, things that expire. And they take that, in this particular organization, fix it to vets and sanctuaries all over the world. So it's a very cool organization. But if I get on their board, which I probably will know within the next couple of weeks, I will step down from OSAC by the end of the year. So, it's not 100% at this point. I have 2 more interviews to go. But
What a neat opportunity.
it's a really cool organization. I'm very excited. Local, so that's nice too. But I will still be doing a wildlife monitoring program. I'll still be involved with WED, and so I'm not really going anywhere. Just something has. So, but then the only other thing I think for the roundtable, and sounds like a broken record, but that pond behind Safeway. I noticed that there's a new solar panel at the north end, but it's still just awful. Is it, what's going on?
So it is a pretty normal condition for our ponds now. Unfortunately, those ponds that don't have a lot of
But there are bubblers in there.
turnover, there is bubbler. I think
We fixed it before.
it's to the point where the sediment has gotten shallow enough. And the growth is just so aggressive. So we are looking into, the potential to actually harvest and remove the duckweed. 'Cause it's a duckweed that people see. It's not inherently dangerous or noxious. But when it gets to a point where it starts killing itself off, it smells horrible.
Yes.
I mean, that is really the duckweed dying is what you're smelling. We do treat the ponds to the maximum level that we're allowed to. But you really have to strike that balance, because if you do all of a sudden initiate a huge, dying of all that material at once, it becomes pretty unpleasant. Yes, very unpleasant. So we're looking into to see if our current pond vendor can accommodate that, if they can do the harvesting for us, or if we need to actually look at doing that in-house. And they make a harvester robot about 10 grand.
Interesting.
And it really just takes it off the surface and it puts it in a bin, and it comes to the shore, and you empty the bin and you keep going.
Sounds like a pool cleaner.
It's a little bit like that. But I think that's just where we are with the life cycle of our ponds. The ponds that you see, that are very clear, like in Purple Park and those areas, have a lot more flow to them.
Yeah.
Well, except the one on the furthest east one.
Correct.
That's just, surrounded by cattails and got a thick layer of.
Yeah. And then what I learned from Mile High Flood District this year is that when they go in and dredge, the year or two after that, it promotes that kind of growth. It just, it's kind of like when you have a wildfire, then you get all this green growth.
Right.
They take that out and it stimulates all this growth. So the pond down by the fire station is probably not gonna look great this next year. And when we do the ponds, down by 88th,
Yeah.
and then the ones, up here on the other side of Rock Creek Circle in 26, they're probably gonna have the same reaction. So trying to get ahead of that so we can, you know, scoop some, if we can just get rid of some of the material, I think we'll be in a better spot, and then our regular monthly treatments will be more impactful.
Maybe that's something we can continue to work with the town's comms team to educate residents, right?
Mhm.
Just so they understand it's,
Yeah.
the town's on it.
That was very, very.
I mean, it
Yeah.
is frustrating, and I think it's hard for people to understand that you can't just like throw chlorine in there and get rid of all the, get rid of all the growth. It's pretty natural, but it's not pretty, and it can be stinky.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the bubblers, and I mean, I understand the solar panel, we got run and all that, but at some point, it seemed like bubblers were kind of getting it done. But they're not anymore.
Yeah, I think we've just reached that point where
That's interesting, yeah, that's,
Yeah.
appreciate that, yeah.
Anything else?
No.
Trust the village. The only thing that I have for the group, it was a really wonderful moment. So it was at the Taste of Nepal dinner, which by the way, our town raised over $12,000.
Wow.
For town of Kinvary. I guess less the food, it's still 11,000, which was still amazing event. Recommend you all consider for next year. But while I was sitting there, I was sitting across from someone or a couple, and they were talking about how they live near Coyote Ridge and they do a lot of trail maintenance and pulling weeds. And I was thinking, this is interesting, right? But they also acknowledged that they probably didn't know if they were pulling at the right time or, you know, just the whole thing. I know that I connected the two of you. Have you had a chance to talk?
Dan.
Tuesday. Fantastic. But you know, it's just something for us to think about. I know we just finished the work plan and there are places where this would be a thread of that, where we continue to look for those moments where we can work with residents to harness some of that energy and maybe bring them on board for a greater community effort or absolutely. But I thought that was just really neat.
And people who did not know about the things we're proposing around planning and improvement. So.
Yes. So anyway, I thought that, I mean, you just never know when you're gonna talk about OSAC, but I thought that was really cool. All right, let's go to our reminders. Oh, so our notes.
Yeah, that's, you know, how we have to take,
Yes.
and Amber gave me what she would take for next year. Because we're down and potentially going to be down 2 people for next year, we're asking that if you can sign up for 2 meetings. And I've only put my name down on one, but I'm waiting until everybody else gets their first 2 choices and then you, because you gotta already have to do the meeting summer, and it's too hard to try to take the notes.
Tonight.
You're doing the, oh, well, I certainly look at what you're doing too, but.
It worked out.
But, you know, I sent this around to you guys and I haven't heard back from you, Mike, or Christie.
On the minutes.
Yeah,
So,
that was in the package.
Oh, okay.
That was part of the.
Do you wanna say which months are taken now?
Yeah, January, May, these are the open months. January, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. So it's almost easier to say the ones that are taken.
Right.
February, March and
well,
April.
I can turn that back around.
Yes, but I put my name on March and I can move, you know, if March is better for somebody else.
You give me May and September.
Okay.
I'll look at the calendar. I probably lost it in all the attachments on the email.
There were a lot, That's totally fair.
Rita, you can put me in for November and maybe, I'm not sure what else is available.
January, June, July, and August.
be January.
I know you're going through, let's see, the grand graduation, is
Yeah,
there?
exactly.
Here.
Sorry. That's true.
You can get back to me, Joanne, you know where to find me.
Okay, okay.
And Todd, if you have any idea?
If you're not in a rush, let me wait till I can get back and look at a full calendar. That June, July, August windows sound fine if you need to pencil me in for any one of those or both or two of those. But I'll respond. I'll respond as soon as I get back.
Okay,
Okay.
and I'll send this out again with the ones that we put in there tonight, just so that you guys have it to physically look at.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, also inviting, we've already talked about inviting Louisville, Brookfield for next meeting. Standing updates, Peter gave us a great run through. Tracy, is there anything else that you'd like to add for Raptors?
Yes, he, anyway, have that report. Do we want to, should we send it to town council and put it on the website? Do we want to wait until we have the end of the year wildlife monitoring report and do it both at the same time? What's the best approach?
Isn't it easier to split them up, because then you're not asking them to read two reports?
And that's why I'm asking him.
That could be nice, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So we can send that over to town council. What's the best way to do that? Should it come from you?
We can put it with the note, but I also think it's sometimes there's so much that comes into the council with all the different advisory committee notes. If you send it directly from OSAC to city council, it maybe stands out.
Yeah, otherwise I might get lost in the shuffle.
And through the email or the, what's
The messages.
the messaging thing, what's the best way?
I mean, I read all of them, but I think emails tend to stand out and they're
Okay.
digestible.
And she reads it all because she's at work.
I love it.
She
I think no time.
So, well, I mean, I can't send an email as OSAC. Can I?
Yeah.
I can send an email to OSAC.
Oh, good point.
That's a promise.
Yeah, we don't.
No, we don't.
You're totally right.
Yeah.
I mean, any one of us could send it like copy, that.
Yeah, of course.
But that's
We
like,
don't have our own OSAC box.
and we could put OSAC
That's
in the subject
interesting.
line.
So can we have a town staff assist?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Have some- have some of their magic.
All the time, but it's more individual.
Yeah.
Okay, but do you need anything from me for that?
No,
You
because
have your
Peter
report.
sent the report.
Yes.
We have that.
We have a.
Excellent.
Okay.
We just forward that straight to council. I'll do that.
Okay, great. And then Peter had said that he spoke with you about a replacement to take over. And that you had some ideas. Is that anything we need to discuss here, or is there something?
It was just I just emailed him today because he dropped off the coats and stuff. So, he said there was there's still no takers, like current volunteers who want to do that.
Yeah.
I had two people in mind that are outside of Superior that are, Dave Sutherland, and I forget the other guy's name. He's like a bird in Brookfield open space. But just to see if they're interested in helping coordinate it. But I don't know how much they have like on their plate. I would have to kind of gauge to see where they're at, because they get busy as well.
Right.
Yeah, but these are two people. I can look for more people too, but it's a matter of, because I sent you guys over, I thought I did a while ago, but it was like the full description of like what Peter does,
Yes.
that whole layout, and then just to see how realistic it is for the people that I have in mind, if they accomplish some of that, or
And it's been on my radar, and I just didn't do it to email both you and Peter to say, because I still think what is wonderful about this program is that it is residents, it's the people who live here. And I would be all for leading a walk or doing some,
But, cause I think sometimes in our town, you don't have to be the expert, cause I certainly wouldn't be, but those experts come out on the walks.
Right.
But, I would be willing to do something along those lines, but I would need someone to maybe say what we're looking at, but I think they're part of the crowd that usually go, but, with those names that you mentioned, maybe they could be, those who could do some of the educational classes. I'm thinking about Peter's slideshow that he would do to bring in new members.
The orientation.
Orientation.
So that's what we should, could put out something to the town as superior for our communications from the town to say we're doing.
We can do it on our volunteer page, is actually do like a full-on volunteer job description, and we can promote it. But do you want to vet the people you kind of know first? And then if they don't get any takers, then, because you never know what you're gonna get when you do that, and it's really hard to say no to somebody who wants to.
But they've been asked, though, haven't they?
All of the current volunteers who got the public.
Yes. Do we want to have a deadline for this? Like to give people, yes, you've asked them, but then do we want to put a deadline to it? It's just so we can gauge like when is just to keep things on track. That's where my mind is at.
The other thought is we do have a vacancy. I think, do we have an interview coming up? I'll check.
Yeah.
When I last asked Michaela, she said she hadn't gotten any.
There wasn't any application
For an OSAC opening.
Right. But it didn't get submitted.
He emailed me back and said I applied. I'll let you know what
I'll check, but
We've got an interview, I think, at the next.
one.
Okay.
But there's always a chance that, like, if we have two and there's only one opening, that, you don't have to be on the committee to be part of the action. You can be part of the Raptor program. And I think people don't always realize that there's other volunteer opportunities, even if maybe you don't make it on, to the committee your first try, so.
his name was like Gordon or something like that. I need to.
That rings a bell.
Yeah. I'll look. I know I saved it in this, but.
The good news is right now we're in a lull in the program, but of course that will change. That will change pretty quickly.
And the orientations usually, let's do January.
That's usually right around September.
Yeah, on 8/19, he said, Christy, I submitted the application today. I'll let you know what I hear. His name is Gordon Sims.
Okay. Well, anyway, I just thought I would see if there's anything we need to do as a committee to keep that moving, but sounds like you're approaching some people, so that's good. Okay, wildlife. I sent you the Q3 report, but I think the things that strike me, as I wrote it, just how many more data points we have this year with the cameras. It's really changed the game, and so it's pretty cool. We've had 48 observations down by Coal Creek, 36 observations at the 88th Street camera, and 37 observations with the Rock Creek Trail camera, and they change the number changes all the time.
What about all those raccoons?
Well,
There's one that just exploded.
Yeah.
well, and there are 5 raccoons, and it's obviously a family living along Rock Creek, which is very cool. It's also very cool that we've had a mink over by 88th Street. You have to think they're going over to HHR probably, or living at the little pond there on the corner of 88. So that's pretty cool. That's all of them. We've had coyote. It just varies by site, but they've all had coyote, we've all had raccoon. And then when it was down by Coal Creek, we had bobcat and deer. It's amazing what we have in this little town. So anyway, that's been a very cool thing. It's also very nice right now to see healthy coyote.
Yes, that's what I noticed, like a big bushy tail.
Yeah.
like great.
I don't think I've seen any of the mange ones like last year, not this year, right?
There were some,
There's something.
yeah, there were some earlier, but fortunately, lately they've been helping, which is great. So, anyway, but with that all, continues, and thanks Christy for she, that's in, yeah, that's in the
There's
data.
some that I'm drinking wine at night.
There you go. Anyway, it's really great. And then I'll move the camera over to Town of Scene. We'll get the game together and we'll go pick a site and let you know.
Great, thanks Tracy. Wildfire update.
I don't have an update, but I do have a question for you. So the project management firm or whatever that you hired, do they have a list of what they're going to do? Because is that documented anywhere? I was just curious.
I actually have a map and I'm happy to share this with you. It takes a little bit of time to figure it out. Because we have the parcels and then what's happening on each one. And when you look at this, you're probably gonna say, why did we pick these areas? They were vetted directly after the fire. So, a lot has changed since then. So the impact may not be what, exactly aligned with where we were thinking 3 years ago. So, but, I'm happy to email that out to folks.
Yeah, I think it'd be great to get.
And I actually have a question I was kind of holding for this section of the meeting. In the little development that I live in we're participating in the wildfire mitigation, the Wildfire Partners Junkyard Junipers program. And they started removing them yesterday. I think they may have wrapped it up today. I'm not positive about that. But we had 167 junipers in our community.
Wow.
But one of the really neat things that this group told us when they came to Lanterns and saw how our community was designed, they go, yeah, the junipers, they need to go, but this is the best community that we have seen. And this is just Boulder County that this program is operating in, bar none, that anything that most well prepared for fire resiliency. So I thought,
Did they say what specifically?
yeah, they went through a bunch of things. I'm like, wow, I didn't even know.
What's about the bill, like the.
It was in the bill, yeah, and the fact that we don't have the plants up close, that we have rock all around our foundations. There's, we do have the junipers, well, maybe not anymore as of today, but by tomorrow, I think for sure they'll be done. And one other thing that they said was an easy thing that we could do, and I remember Tom used to talk about this, limbing the trees. Now we're a newer community, so the evergreen trees is what we're talking. The ideal is to have it like 6 foot off the ground, or if you have a club next to it, they want 6 feet. Expert who came in, he said, okay, well, that doesn't really work here. He goes 6 feet or one third the height of the tree. Okay. So that's a measure that our board is going to talk about considering adding that one to ours too. And I thought that was something that was a positive wildfire.
Yeah, that was great.
Thing
And they'll come out and assess anyone's home for a whole block or whatever. They came out and assessed mine. I think you were there and.
Is that Wildfire Partners?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think they've done quite a few.
This is great.
Quite a few neighbors in your area and some in Sagamore.
Yeah, they did a whole bunch of stuff.
Everybody else wants to look at that.
Yeah, they even talked about, well, could we take pictures here and like use them as promoting, like, this is what we want people
No, that's
to do.
great. Yeah, that's really great.
So it made us feel really good, but I'm also, it's a superior thing, so
Yeah.
we were impacted by it, but here's some.
And you guys don't have fences, right?
The fences that we have are not burned. I mean, they're stone columns with metal bars between them.
That's great.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then there is the town fence behind us, the plastic ones that like we sit over. PVC.
Yes.
PVC, thank you.
Yes.
Fine. Yeah, that'd be great if you don't even want
Yeah, that's fine, because you'll start to see some work happening, especially with we like to do those late fall mows, when the grasses start to get really crispy, and so you'll start to see some of that going on. Along with some limbing, brush removal, slash removal, those kind of things, but yeah.
The youth stewards, like, we used that map when we did a meeting, like, we removed a lot of, just weeds in general, and then Russian olives, we were trying to target, because that's for FEMA. So we targeted everything and tracked everything that we did on those properties this summer.
So we get reimbursement for the payment that we provide to the youth in that program, is partially reimbursed through FEMA. So that's really nice.
I like the big barrier that's been kind of left up along the Caslin down by the trailhead. I mean,
I know, and
I think it's helped.
what do you, so I haven't asked this of our project management team yet, but we want to leave a barrier there somehow. And do where, how and where we do that. There is a portion that's already pretty bare, but.
Are you talking about so that prairie dogs don't?
Yes,
They have a new fire with neighbors, you know.
And I was gonna actually see if when you meet with the county people tomorrow, if we could target that as a next year project, is that from the Colton Trailhead North, where we're getting that crossover into Town 15, is to do prairie dog fence there. Colton along. Colton North.
East? Or are you saying northwest? To keep them from crossing
From the
over.
trailhead.
Gotcha. That makes more sense. I was getting confused because I thought you were saying.
To keep them from crossing from the Bolton side too.
Yeah, because what I don't want is like new rows on top of 15, and then we have issue like what's happening in Bull Creek Crossing where neighbors are saying they're too close to.
Yeah.
So I think if there's just like a section along there that's just long enough to provide visual barrier, I don't know how like deep that is.
I know, that's what I wanna ask, is does it need to be a 2-foot mohawk or a 3-foot mohawk?
Right, yeah, I mean, that's probably problematic, so I've done some math, maybe I have to get on the ground and look. Great.
So you need a prairie dog eye doctor.
Yeah, right.
But I think there are some prairie dog wildlife experts in the county. Like that's the prairie dog team. Yeah, they have a.
But they could probably tell you
They
that.
could maybe give us some guidance.
I have someone I can contact too, but it doesn't work tomorrow. They probably know, I've always been like, hey, the best barrier is that natural, like, let something grow. But I know it's like, we're trying to balance all the things, right?
Is this something you said for next year? Or the next year?
The barrier fence up would be the project for next year, but for this year, when we mow, do we instruct them to mow and leave the strip by the fence? That's what I'm thinking.
It's not by the fence, I think it needs to be along the path, because we had so many prairie dogs reach that fence when it was initially mowed down over there. So now they're in that section of right away or strip. Whereas before they weren't, before they were more behind the fence, then
Well, and then beyond the fence.
exactly, so now we're trying to keep them at least there, but I think future, like it would be good, but we also don't want them to go across McAllen.
Do you think that the parcel, the county side of that, seems like they grazed it a lot more? Like there's a lot less grass over there now. Do you feel that way too?
Oh, yeah, for sure, I was like, you mean like the prairie dogs raised it? Yeah.
Who
Habitat preservation, we talked a bit about that. Grant asks, anything
other
further?
than the non-motorized, that's what we have on the horizon. We are looking, we did get grant funding for, and this is, I don't know, maybe not directly related to OSAC, but to put together a plan for turf reduction in town. So we'll start identifying areas that are groomed, irrigated, you know, turf, and areas that can be transitioned to like xeriscape or hardscape or some combination of that. So that's, we have the funding already to put together the plan, and we're working on the plan.
So like what you did in the Rock Creek Parkway, in the meeting.
And how we just like, that's the next
level.
part of it. That makes sense. Yeah.
Anything that we need to ask communications, Kevin, about?
Does it make sense to, do we ever publish Peter's report from after? To the public, is that something that we would?
It's posted on the website.
But not publish
I'm
it
just
in
curious
the.
whether that means.
I don't think we want to publish it
For the nesting.
because it has next.
Is it too much detail?
Yeah. Okay.
However, I think profile on what Peter has done could be really awesome in like the town.
This town
I
may,
really wanna put something together for the volunteer dinner.
Yes, we did that.
Friday, November 6th. I should have updated you on that. November 6th.
Yes, that's before our next meeting.
It is before our next meeting. All the committees get an invite automatically, but it's not that far away, so yeah.
what time is that?
November 6th,
Happen typically?
that's a Thursday.
I think it should be a Thursday.
It is a Thursday.
For these, are they just, do you get to recognize?
I think they
Over-
do a slideshow, so we could provide like a slide. It's not typical that we pull an individual out for recognition,
Right.
but I think this is a over and above circumstance.
Yeah.
You know, his longevity and the amount of work that he's done
And continues to do.
How long did he do?
7 years, he said in the one written
What's
report.
the down OSAC?
Yes, he's a second part.
you know, he comes to every single National Trails Day, he does hikes and walks.
He participates in the weed warriors. Yeah.
And what?
He presented those two.
And what?
Yes, that was real.
He's in.
Oh, and wet. And
I
wet.
think we can recognize one other volunteer, which is our superhero who collects all the recycling.
Oh, yeah. I
And
heard that story. Yeah.
So when individuals are recognized, not that they do it very often, do they read off something or is it just a slide?
I think this will maybe
Be a
the
first.
first time we do it, so I'm not entirely sure, but if someone would want to head up, like maybe. Is he gonna hate it if we do that?
It will make him a little uncomfortable.
Yes.
I mean, it doesn't have to be a picture of him, it could be a picture of a raptor.
Right.
This is what Peter looks at.
Yeah, and just like, you know, maybe some of the statistics related to the raptor program.
Because what I do, it's like, what is it do? October 10th, I believe. Each liaison has to, you know, turn in all of the data, like all the weeds collected, all the accomplishments, everything like.
For the year.
Yeah, for the year. Then I send it to Michaela and she puts it in like a PowerPoint slide and it's just like rotating in the back.
Sure.
That's all it is. But for Peter, it could be like a specific thing.
Yeah, we could just randomly have him pop up in pictures. Here he's weeding. Here he's.
Is that where I was here? Michaela did do a little talk.
Mhm.
And last year, I wasn't there last year, some years, it was just the rolling slide.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to the rolling slots. Yeah.
But the first year, there was a little bit more discussion, I guess.
And we can ask her, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah, but the rolling slot, I thought that was kind of nice. Because it was like,
you're just socialize.
Do you want to ask Michaela, do you want me to reach out to Michaela? And then separately, I can ask Peter if he would just be horrified by this. And we'll respect that. But we do.
he usually is.
Yeah, just, you can say we're gonna recognize the program and we'll slip his name in there.
Yeah. I like that idea.
That's actually.
Let's just round down.
He was kind of,
Yeah.
Introverted.
I don't know, he doesn't like fanfare.
But
But he very much like when you're out volunteering with him, he is wonderful.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Okay.
I think that's the perfect thing.
I'll reach out to Michaela and then we'll figure out how to provide what we each want of the Raptor and we'll just sneak in the word. Peter. Words, yeah. Or super hero volunteers.
Yes.
We'll put his face on like a.
Yeah, and the cake fun, yeah.
Well, thanks, team. Thank you for a wonderful evening. Trustee Miller, thank you for coming and having us about this building questions.
Thanks for covering, since Mike had to do the other one.
Yeah, and it can't be in two places at once.
We'll see you next month, everyone. Bye-bye.
Yes.
Thank you, guys. Wonderful.